So I needed a force equal to the pain, the trauma, the suppressed pain that put me in my body to draw me out.
Mm-hmm.
And what I didn't know is that from age 15, 16, up till this point, 27, with all of my questing and trying things and journaling and traveling even, I was looking for something, right? I think earlier I said, like, let me try this thing, let me try this other thing, I was looking for something.
Mm.
That's what a question is. Why am I in pain? Why is this happening to me? Why is my body doing what it's doing? And what I was looking for was me. Before we dive into today's podcast, I want to let you know about something I've never done before that I'm really excited about, and it is a 9-month study group with me inside the School for Living Science community platform, where we're going to look at the topic of fascia over 9 months. So this is a study group called Secrets of Fascia. It's starting October 2nd. If you happen to be catching this podcast after that, you can still jump in. We're going to have recordings available for you. And maybe you're wondering, what could we possibly learn about fascia in 9 months? That's a long time. And actually, the answer is a lot. So I've been working with fascia for 17 years, and I'm still learning today. I'm still learning new things about fascia today. And one of the reasons for this is that fascia is the only element in the body that touches all other elements. And maybe, like me, when you heard the word fascia for the first time, you just knew intuitively, you sensed that there was something about fascia that could give you answers or give you hope or help you heal. So we're going to learn everything we possibly can about fascia together over a 9-month period. It is by donation. You can jump in anytime. Like I said, the recordings will be there for you. We're starting together live, but you can join anytime after that. So I'm going to leave a link in the description and show notes where you can check it out and join us if you're inspired to go really deep on this topic of fascia. In today's episode, our third, I believe, Stefan, who is here with me as always, is going to be interviewing me again. So sometimes on these episodes, he'll be interviewing me, and sometimes we'll do conversational podcasts. But today, Stefan, you're going to be interviewing me about the origin story of Kinetix.
Yeah. So glad to be here. And yeah, wasn't sure where to start this one exactly, but we could go back to, well, as far as we wanted to. But I think for today, I want to start with massage. So you found yourself at some point deciding that you wanted to get into massage. I never found myself wanting to get into massage. So maybe take us back there and tell us, why did you want to get into massage in the first place? Like, what led to that? How old were you? Where were you at the time?
Yeah. And maybe before I answer your question, I just want to say the reason I felt like this podcast episode would be a good one is I get asked all the time by my clients, by students, by people online, where I learned this. Like, where did you learn to do this? This being the Kinetix mapping methodology and the partner fascia release that I do with people to help get them answers and results. So when people are getting results they've never had anywhere else and they're getting answers that no one else has been able to give them, they tend to be really curious, like, where'd you learn to do this? And a lot of people ask that question because they want to know how they can go learn it. If they want to become a practitioner, or they want to go read up on it. Like where did this come from? Who,
clients too.
Yeah. So anyway, so that's why we're doing this episode. So it was 2007. And I was living in Las Vegas, Nevada at the time. And I had just graduated from the Institute for Integrative Nutrition with a certificate, a piece of paper,
a shiny one,
conferring upon me the title of Certified Holistic Health Coach. And I had no idea what I would possibly do with that piece of paper, and nothing I learned there prepared me to work with real people or start a business.
So you were already like peripherally into the healing world.
Yes, that's essentially what I've always been interested in. Although I didn't necessarily, it's not like I when I was younger, said to myself, I want to be in the healing arts. That's what I want to do when I grow up. I think it was just my own pain and the unanswered questions from my own, suffering. Like, why do I have gut pain every day? Why do different diets affect me differently? What am I supposed to eat differently to have better digestion? So I studied nutrition. Am I supposed to think differently to affect my body? Am I supposed to drink certain things, not, take supplements? Am I supposed to cleanse? Am I supposed to, what is this thing that I live in called a body? I felt it very at home in my body on the one hand ever since I was little, but on the other, this place that felt like home was constantly giving me pain.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to help myself and help my body, but I really had no idea where to go. So I looked everywhere, So yeah. So I was, I thought maybe I would, I was really into food and nutrition, and I love cooking.
Yeah.
I love
She's
cooking.
a great cook.
I love feeding people. I love food. I'm Italian.
Yeah.
But I love food in the sense that I love the way it can nourish us. I love the way I feel my cells light up when I eat really healthy, good, yummy, delicious, but really delicious, healthy food. So yeah, I thought I wanted to maybe do nutritional counseling and coaching, and then decided, I don't think I do. So I was $20,000 in debt, and decided to.
Why did you?
Careers.
Sorry to interject, but why did you decide that wasn't for you?
Sometimes we just know.
Mm-hmm.
But it didn't feel like it aligned with my unique gifts and talents.
Okay.
And that was maybe the first time in my life where it dawned on me that I might have different, talents and gifts that were unique to me, and that wouldn't be the best use of them. I don't know that I had that exact thought at the time, but it didn't feel like I would be using myself well.
Well, I know you might be about to say this, but you've told me before when I've asked, why'd you do massage?
Yeah.
You're like, well, I know I'd be good at it.
Yeah.
And you said you've always been kinesthetic. And
yes, exactly. So there was what was missing for me was the body, using my body.
Yeah.
To effect change with clients. So whereas nutritional counseling would be getting on Zoom, which I don't even know if that existed in 2007, 2008, or 2006, 2007, which is when I went there. But doing remote Skype sessions, or sitting down with people and talking to them. I didn't want to do that. I was like, oh, I don't want to do that. I'm interested in that, but I want to use my body. I want to be physical. So I was deciding between personal training and massage. Those were my next two choices. And I went with massage because, I felt like I'd be good at it. And at the time, I thought I might use my massage therapy license and title to get a job in a national park.
That's right. I forgot about that.
Or maybe all over the world.
Wait, how would that have worked though? They have massage.
Yeah, they hire
masseuses.
At their spas, their resorts. So in every national park and around the world, you can get hired as a traveling massage therapist, where you just go travel the world, working in these spas. So that's kind of my rationale, because I didn't really want to be a massage therapist. I needed money.
Yeah.
So many people.
What I remember is at the time you wanted to travel the world and write, basically.
Yes. Yeah. I was trying to figure out how I could get paid to travel.
Right.
And,
that was your best.
Yeah. Vlogging on YouTube wasn't yet a thing.
Right. So you went to massage school.
So I went to massage school in Georgia. So I moved back to South Carolina, and went to massage school in Augusta, Georgia, because there was a 6-month program there that I could get student loans for, and you graduate in 6 months with a license. Whereas the only school in Nevada at the time was 2 years and $25,000.
Right.
So I moved back to the South, where I did not grow up there, for the record. But my parents were living there, my family, I have family there. And yeah, started massage school in Augusta, Georgia in 2007 and then graduated in 2008.
Okay, so I know the answer to this, but what happened there?
Within about the first month of massage school, one of my instructors, Chuck, who I always loved, Chuck is awesome, asked all of us students, I think there were probably about 30 of us, maybe 25, something like that. It was a big class. If anyone there wanted to be stepped on one day, he just came, like it was early days in our program. He said, "Hey, I'm learning this thing called Rossiter, and it involves getting stepped on, and we'll be working with fascia, and we're just curious, anyone want to get stepped on?" And we actually were scheduled to have a Rossiter workshop that would be included in our massage curriculum. So we had a 3-day weekend workshop coming up in December. So I started massage school in September. So I already kind of peripherally heard about it, but I didn't know what it meant. And then when Chuck asked if anyone wanted to be stepped on, my hand shot up in the air so fast, I think probably before I had time to think about it. And so he demoed calves on me. And stepped on my calves. And the moment his weight sunk into my calf, I had this overwhelming knowing come over me. I'm going to be okay. I'm going to hike and run again.
Okay.
I'm going to feel at peace in my body. I'm going to be okay.
So just to add a little context there, you were having a lot of physical pain. You weren't able to hike and run, and that had been going on for how long?
At that point, I had not been able to run for 6 years or hike for 4 years.
Okay.
Due to knee pain. But there were a lot of other things going on in my body too. Yes, as you mentioned.
Trauma related that...
I didn't know it at the time. But yeah, I had horrible digestive issues, really intense jaw pain that made me talk funny. Anxiety, systemic tension. I felt like my body was being gripped in a vice every day, and someone was like cranking it up and winding a little tighter and a little tighter every single day.
So when you got stepped on the first time, that's what you came with?
Yes. And I loved the way it felt. Most people hate
was
the way
that
it feels.
I've never asked you this, but was that the experience of the other students there?
No, they did not love the way it feels.
And did a lot of other hands shoot up, or not so much?
No. No, mine literally shot in the air so fast. I probably didn't even blink between him asking and my hand shooting up. It was just, I don't know, our bodies know. Yeah. So I knew something. Plus, I just like trying things. You know me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like trying new foods, I like trying new things.
Yeah. So was it an immediate thing, like, I need to learn this? Or was it just... Okay.
Purely selfish. Like, this is for me. Like, I'm going to...
I need to be the patient.
I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
Because this thing is what I've been looking for.
Mm-hmm. So what was your next move? I'm guessing, like, if I was in that situation, I would have been like, who can step on me as much as possible? Yeah,
pretty much. I mean, Chuck was the only person that could have stepped on me at that point, and he was my instructor. Let
me backtrack a little bit also, because like, why, and you maybe answered this a little bit, but do you know now why it felt like it had so much potential for healing, is what I'm hearing? Why it had so much potential for healing for you? Did you have any sense of it at the time?
No.
You just knew that it was
just a knowing.
And that you'd be okay.
And it's but okay, so he stepped on me and I did the technique and nothing happened. So I also want to make that clear. Nothing changed.
In terms of your pain, trauma, anything like that.
Yes, my body didn't change. But in that moment, in those 30 seconds of him stepping on me, I changed.
Yeah.
Like, this happens, I think, to a lot of people. And it's a mysterious phenomenon where you have an experience or you encounter information and something in you, it's like a puzzle piece slips into place that had been missing. and you suddenly know something you didn't know before, even if you can't explain it logically. And that knowing changes your life. It gives you direction. It gives you confidence and certainty. It gives you, an aim.
Right. So, but you didn't have an aim really right after that.
No, I did.
Okay, so what was your aim?
I'm going to hike and run again.
Okay, interesting. Gotcha.
I instantly had an aim. Whereas before, I was like throwing the kitchen sink at my body. It was like, let me try this cleanse. Let me try this diet. Let me try this massage therapy. Let me try hypnotherapy. Let me try psychotherapy. Let me try journaling. Let me try Tony Robbins' personal development course. Let me go to this other, health seminar, personal development health seminar. Let me go to a chiropractor.
Yeah, I'm reminded of that funny video that we watched one time where it's somebody like, a story for another time. Anyhow, so what I was asking before I got off on that tangent was I'm assuming you sought out getting stepped on as much as possible. How did you go about that?
I was somewhat patient, I guess. Chuck demoed on us, I think, periodically, any chance he got.
Yeah.
Between September and December.
And what you like about that is there's like kind of let's try things.
He's
let's go
rebel.
rogue.
Yes, he went rogue. I love Chuck for that. So he like went off the massage therapy instructor script and was like having us step on each other and during class time.
Cool.
But not all the time. I was also learning massage and getting massaged, and massage wasn't doing anything for my body. I mean, granted, these were students who didn't know how to do anything. But Chuck would demo massage, and even when he demoed on me, like nothing changed in my body. And nothing changed in all of the demos that he did with us between September and December. And then in December, we had the Rossiter workshop taught by Richard Rossiter, and I was over the moon, and I was absolutely confident I was going to run and hike that weekend. Or run, I should say, not hike. Run. For the first time in 6 years without knee pain. I was certain of it.
What gave you that certainty, that confidence?
Just that knowing.
Yeah. From the first time you got stepped on.
Yep. I'm going to hike and run again, and this is going to do it.
Okay.
Getting stepped on.
So what happened?
So I brought my workout shoes to the workshop. I arrived early, as always, but I arrived extra early this time for the workshop. So it was a Friday, Saturday, Sunday workshop. I arrived early Friday morning as they were setting up, and I accosted Richard.
Yeah.
And literally told him, you are going to help me run again for the first time in 6 years at lunch. Like, I don't want to take time away from the students, this morning. I'm so excited. I know this is going to help me run again. I have knee pain. I haven't been able to run in 6 years. You're going to help me.
I can imagine if I was on the receiving end of that, I'd kind of be like, word. Okay.
That's kind of what happened with him. He laughed and was like, all right, I'll stay back.
Mm-hmm.
So.
But he did.
I'm so grateful to him. For so many reasons. He stayed back at lunch. He missed lunch to help me, to try to help me. And my idea that I presented him was, here's what I want to do. I'm going to have you try a technique, and then I'm going to put on my shoes and try to run. And then, if that doesn't work, then you'll try another technique, and I'll put on my shoes and I'll try to run. And something will work, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah.
And so he was kind of like, okay, that's interesting. And so he tried something. If I recall right, probably calves, because in the Rossiter world, calves are connected to knee pain. I've learned it can be way more complex than that, but that's kind of how they teach it. So he tried calves on me, and I laced up my shoes, and I ran out the door, and within one block, I had knife-like stabbing pain in both knees. And so I came back and I said, try something else. That wasn't it. So he tried something else. I think T-bands. I put on my shoes. Oh, T-bands. Oh my God, I wanted to die, cry. That was the first time I'd ever been stepped on T-bands by Richard. So yeah, I put on my shoes, ran out the door, tried to run, same knife-like stabbing pain in my knees. I was not deterred. So I was running probably like less than 5 minutes, probably 3 minutes. And then, in my mind at the time, I thought, if it works, it's going to be instantaneous. Like I will put on my shoes and I'll be running pain free.
Why did you think that?
I don't know, naivete, ignorance. I had no idea, I just was going on intuition and
Well,
instinct.
it makes sense. Like when you get a massage, for example, right after a massage, you feel,
The best.
yeah, you feel really good.
Well, if it's a good massage,
Right.
to be clear. So yeah, we did that about, I think, 4 times. And on the 4th try, I came back and I said, try something else because I wasn't about to give up. And Richard looked at me and he asked me a question. Do your knees hurt when you don't run? And I said, no. And he said, well, then don't run. Running's bad for you anyway. It's bad for your joints. It's bad for your bones. It's bad for your fascia.
Okay. And so what happened inside of you at that moment? Yeah.
Yeah, it was it was disappointing. I was sad. I had been so sure and so confident this was going to do it. And my enthusiasm hadn't wavered and my belief that it was going to work hadn't waned. But clearly I can't get helped from someone who doesn't think I should run anyway because it's bad for me.
Why hadn't your enthusiasm waned at that point? Because I can imagine myself in that scenario going, maybe I was wrong,
I'm extremely persistent and stubborn. In instances like this, when I'm certain something will work, I'm not going to be satisfied till we've tried everything. And there are like 100 techniques to try. There are any number of combinations of trying things before I would give up.
So your initial experience with Chuck was like so strong that you were still convinced. You had conviction about it still.
It wasn't to do with Chuck per se. It was just a knowing.
Yeah.
And you asked me if I have hindsight now about what that actually was, and I do. But it's taken me probably 10 to 15 years to figure out why did I know? Like what happened? Like why did massage therapy not help me? Why did that not give me a knowing? Why did chiropractic not give me a knowing? Why did psychotherapy not give me a knowing? Why did diets not give me a knowing? Why did all other things that I had tried not give me the same knowing? And the answer that I've come up with, which I will say feels like a best guess, but it feels true, and it's my truth. It's not the truth about anybody but me, is that I had experienced such intense traumas in my childhood that I dissociated in a way not typically defined as dissociation, which is that I retreated deeper into my body.
Yeah.
And so and at that point in 2007, I didn't even know what dissociation was. I don't think like trauma wasn't a commonly discussed thing. I think I'd heard of dissociation, but it was kind of like associated with people who experience things they don't remember.
Oh, like hardcore
yes,
dissociative identity disorder.
Yeah, or like you have no memories. That's what, and now I've come to understand dissociation in a more nuanced way now over the years. But I'm someone who retreated deep into my body. Yeah. Like so for me to feel quote unquote safe, I retreat in and I feel everything. Like not feeling feels unsafe to me. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But so I needed a force equal to the pain, the trauma, the suppressed pain that put me in my body to draw me out. Mm-hmm. And what I didn't know is that from age 15, 16, up till this point, 27, with all of my questing and trying things and journaling and traveling even, I was looking for something, right? I think earlier I said, like, let me try this thing, let me try this other thing, I was looking for something. That's what a question is. Why am I in pain? Why is this happening to me? Why is my body doing what it's doing? And what I was looking for was me.
Yeah.
The me that I had suppressed. The emotions I had suppressed, the feelings I had suppressed, the memories I hadn't known how to locate or find, in my body. The part of me that had retreated deep into my body. I was looking for her. And none of the other things helped me find her. Mm-hmm. And then I was stepped on and it was like, there I am. And if
you didn't have that thought
no,
in the moment, though.
No.
But now in retrospect,
Yes.
that feeling you had,
yes,
you're like, I think that's what happened.
Yes. Because in all of my journaling, which is the one thing that really did help me in my 20s heal at the emotional level, but in all of my journaling, it is so obvious if you were to read it today, I was looking for something.
Yeah. And
I couldn't find it. Writing and writing and writing my way to a question I didn't even know to ask and looking for something I didn't know I was looking for. I just was searching and searching and searching. And I was looking for myself. Mm-hmm. And then I was stepped on and it's like, there I am. Mm-hmm. And if I guess I've come to the conclusion that if you feel connected to yourself in all ways, meaning all members of your organism are connected and conscious of each other, you can tackle any issue, you can solve any pain, you can know what you need to know, you can overcome challenges. And until then, you're going to feel broken, scattered, like you have pieces of yourself, but you're not going to feel like a whole.
Yeah. Disassociated. Disconnected
is a better word. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like the disintegrated. Disintegrated. And so suddenly I was like, I'm an integrated whole. And if I'm an integrated whole, I can run again. Like, I don't know. It's just this knowing. So yeah. So, but Richard gave up. But I didn't. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. Do you have a?
Yeah. I mean, so was that the last time that you experienced Rossiter in massage school? Mm-mm. So you had it you experienced it several other times.
There was a not connected to the program level 2 that he offered as a follow-up to the level 1 that was part of our program. Mm-hmm. And I took it, so I had to pay for it. Mm-hmm. But I took that level 2 workshop later in my curriculum. Mm-hmm. Oh, sorry. I think I said earlier it was a 6-month massage program. It was 9 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so were you still going for you at that point, or were you thinking about it as like, this could be a career?
Well, I did go home from that very first workshop, and I told my parents, I'm going to make this famous.
Yeah, I'm laughing prematurely because I know the story, but yeah.
So something kicked in me. It was like, this is my future. This is my destiny. I'm going to be good at this. I'm going to make it famous. I don't know what gave me that egotistical knowing. It felt like a knowing, though. Mm. Here we are. Haven't made anything famous yet, so we'll see. But something about it just felt like there's something here the world needs to know about that's different. Mm-hmm. And I didn't know what it was yet. And so, like, how can you make something famous if you don't even know why it's worthy of fame?
Yeah.
And so I had to go on a very long learning journey.
So what did that journey look like? You went to another Rossiter workshop. Like, Kinetix still isn't a thing yet.
Nope.
What was the learning journey, and then, like where did you take it from workshop number 2?
I still was convinced that this thing, getting stepped on, was going to help me hike and run again. It just wasn't going to be Richard who would help me hike and run again. So I ended up signing up for and attending almost 20 workshops in a 2.5-year period.
This is all while you were in South Carolina?
Yes.
Okay.
So Chuck was teaching Rossiter pretty soon after this, level 1s. Then eventually he moved within a year. I think he moved into teaching level 2s and then level 3s. And then Richard was teaching level 4s. And so I was attending that. So I attended a lot with Richard and a lot with Chuck. They were mostly Richard workshops or Chuck workshops that I attended. So I assisted, I bribed my way in, I did everything I possibly could to be able to attend because I couldn't pay for all of them. And so I attended a lot of workshops and I got stepped on a lot and I stepped on a lot of people in this Rossiter way. So Rossiter is a pin and stretch modality. It is they stretch fascia like taffy, or that's their goal anyway. So they pin tissue to the floor. We were literally taught how to step by pretending we were stepping off a curb. And then we just land on the body and we pin it all the way to the floor or the chair or whatever surface is underneath the body part. And then clients are, or partners are coached through stretching movements.
Yeah.
So that's what I learned. I didn't know any different. But I was in massage school. And while I was in massage school, I got recruited by a chiropractor to work for her as soon as I graduated. So I had a job waiting for me.
I didn't know you got recruited. That's interesting.
In September, the very first month I was in massage school. I did chair massage at a triathlon in Augusta.
I remember you telling me that.
And she landed in my chair.
I see.
And said, "You are really good." I'd been doing massage for 1 month. And said, "I want to hire you." And I said, "Okay, but I have 8 months left till I graduate." And she said, "I'll wait."
Interesting.
Looking back now, she's right. Like, I mean, it's Augusta,
you
Georgia.
You were good.
Augusta, Georgia.
For sure.
It's not a normal place where people are naturally inclined to the healing arts and good at it.
For sure. Yeah.
Not to say there aren't people there that are good. There are.
It's not Boulder, Colorado or
California or
Northern California.
Exactly.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So she recruited me. I had a job waiting for me, which was kind of nice. Mm-hmm. So already my knowings were, kind of getting validated. I'm good at this. It will make me money.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So then I graduated and started working for the chiropractor.
And I feel like that's really all I need to say because, yeah, share what happened there and how, what happened there.
So by this point, I believe what had happened with Rossiter is I had repeated one level 1. Okay. I'd audited it and I'd attended one level 2.
Okay.
By the time I graduated, I believe. And I was super gung-ho about it. And I just still, even though I hadn't had my own healing transformation yet, I was convinced it would do it. And so because I was convinced it could do it for me, I was convinced I could help other people. Like I wanted to be what I wanted Richard to be for me, for other people.
Yeah.
So when the chiropractor, had me to her office and was showing me around and showing me my office, I said, "Hey, I really want to maybe do Rossiter too. Can I do a demo on you?"
Did she have any idea what it was, or did you introduce
Not exactly.
it to her?
I mean, I explained it, and she goes, "Well, I do have some hip pain that you could test it out on." And I did a few techniques on her, and she got out of pain in 20 minutes. And then she forbid me from doing Rossiter.
Which,
instantly,
okay, so
during that office visit.
And I imagine for some people that might make sense if you're in that world, and for other people it's like, wait, what? Why?
Well, her entire model, I learned, is insurance-based. And everybody coming was in debilitating chronic pain from car accidents, falling accidents. Probably looking back now, a lot of the people were dealing with myofascial pain syndrome, not that I believe in those kinds of diagnoses, but like fibromyalgia, and they were just in debilitating chronic pain. They were on pain medications, a lot of them. Insurance was paying for them to come to the chiropractor, and included in chiropractic, she would prescribe massage. So it was a very lucrative business for her. I had to fill out SOAP notes for the insurance billing for every client, which was tedious and annoying. And yeah, I mean, what's going to happen to a business like that if people get out of pain in one session?
Yeah, and well, I know the story, so I know that they will stop coming back.
Yeah. So she forbid me from doing Rossiter. So I was like, okay, fine. But I wanted to help people. Like, it didn't feel right to not use every tool in my toolkit if I could help someone get out of pain. Like, I was more interested in helping them get out of pain than being paid every week because I did a massage.
So you were doing this with massage clients in the chiropractic office. You were doing Rossiter.
No, I
Just to clarify.
yeah. So no, I started just doing massage. And then I was like, oh, these people are in pain. Like, this isn't a spa. They're not coming here for pampering.
Yeah.
I want to help them, and I think I can, but I need more than massage to do that.
Yeah.
So I asked some of my clients who I felt would be open to it if they would want to experiment and do table Rossiter, where I would be, they'd be fully clothed. So we would do 20 minutes of table Rossiter, where I'd put them on the table fully clothed, and then I'd prop them up in various ways, and then I'd lean into them with my elbow or my fist, and then coach them through the movements that I had learned that I was supposed to do if I was stepping on them. And almost everybody said yes because they're in pain.
Yeah.
And here I am saying, like, look, I don't know why you're in pain, but I think that this other thing could really help you. Do you want to try it? And they would be like, yes. What do you want to do? Like, what should we do? And the very first person, I will never forget this, the very first person who said yes was a 67-year-old woman with really bad hip pain. She was kind of walking funny because of it. And this is really scary for people who are aging, They start falling, they start being unsure of their body. When you're unsure of your body, you go up and down stairs differently, and then you're more prone to falling, and then it's just a downward spiral from there.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, she wanted to try something. And so I propped her up in a way where I could get into her IT band. With my forearm, which, like, oh my God, that would probably hurt so much worse than a foot. Even though the foot is really intense. These bones of ours, are kind of sharp. Especially yours.
True.
But she said yes. And so, these techniques only last 30 to 40 seconds. So it's a lot of intensity for 30 to 40 seconds.
Yeah.
So we did like 3 or 4 minutes of work on her IT band on the side with the hip pain. And she got completely out of pain. Like, that one thing eliminated the pain. Like, got rid of it.
Yeah.
So then I gave her a massage, and she felt amazing and never came back.
Right. How many people did that happen for? Some version of that?
Probably like 5 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. And most of my clients were coming every week because they were in so much pain, and insurance was paying for it. And the chiropractor had prescribed weekly massage to them for insurance. So that was like so amazing to me. I was like, holy cow, if that's happening on the table, what's going to happen when I can actually step on them? And so I snuck my blocks and my pole and my mat in, and so I was kind of then taking it from the table. I was like, do you guys, I'm not supposed to do this, but like, do you want to do 20 minutes of stepping, and then I'll put you on the table?
Yeah.
And yeah, and it's funny because I started filling out the soap notes with what worked to get people out of pain.
Wait. So I don't know if I knew this. So you were saying, like, here's what I did in the soap notes.
Yeah. So
that you weren't supposed to be caught doing.
Well, the insurance company had nothing to do with it.
Wait, but did the woman who on the...
No, she didn't read my soap notes.
Oh, okay.
She just had to submit them to the insurance company, so that it's like proof that I gave a massage to somebody with chronic pain and they're still in pain, therefore they need to come back next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, but when something worked, I started writing it down. We did the IT band. We released it. We found adhesions the size of grapefruits, and when we released it in this way with my elbow, boom, she got out of pain. I don't know. I just wanted to submit the truth.
Yeah.
So then I started putting people on the floor. But what I want to share here, because this is part of the origin story of Kinetix, is when I was doing table Rossiter, like with my elbow and my fists, I found giant adhesions, like knots, like balls of tissue in people's quads, in their IT bands, in their calves.
Were you not, sorry to interject, were you not finding that when you were stepping on people?
Never in
Interesting.
Rossiter.
Okay.
Never, ever, ever. And
Because
never,
of the way you were taught to step.
Yeah. So when you pin tissue to the floor, you will not get a clunk. You will not bump over something. You will not shear anything. You will not compress and shear an adhesion, which is part of the technique difference between the partner fascia release I do with Kinetix, or that we do, and Rossiter. So Rossiter is, again, that pin and stretch. They don't go after adhesions. I never felt one, not one single solitary time in all 20 of the workshops I ended up attending. So I'm giving massages and finding these adhesions, but then I'm going to Rossiter workshops and we're not doing adhesion. We're not clunking anything. We're not finding adhesions. And I started to kind of like show a few people what I was finding, and then they would tell me, "Don't do that. You shouldn't be doing that." And I was like, but it's getting my clients like instant results. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but like I wanted to talk to people about it. So it was really disappointing that I couldn't bring back my experiments and what I was doing to the people I'd kind of felt like I'd learned it from, to share with them. Like, I think there's something to this, and it's getting my clients instant results. And I wanted to know why. Why do you guys think it's so? Because it was getting like almost every client out of pain.
Yeah.
Instantly, like within minutes. I
didn't realize that was happening that early on. Mm-hmm. That's interesting.
Yeah. And so that job with the chiropractor lasted a year. And then she found out I was stepping on people and got so passive aggressive with me that I quit. She didn't actually fire me, which is interesting, but I quit. And I determined after that, I'm never doing massage again. I'm going to step on people. And so that's what happened, is I resolved to using my body work title to step on people rather than do massage.
Okay, so you were still in South Carolina at that point. Mm-hmm. And then I know, like, help me fill in the gap. So how much longer were you there, and what were you doing for work during that time? Yeah, like what happened after that?
So I would have gotten hired by the chiropractor in 2008. Then I would have finished with her probably like summer of 2009 or fall of 2009, somewhere in there. And so that's when the 2008 crash happened.
Right.
And I thought maybe I would be able to like get a job in a spa if I needed to, even though like I just wanted to step on people. But it became abundantly clear people weren't paying for massages at that time, especially in the South. So I was kind of working for my dad on and off throughout this period. Not when I was doing full-time massage with chiropractor. That feels like a story for another day.
But you were still there for, like, when did you weren't really actively doing body work for a living the rest of the time in South Carolina?
I was very part-time, stepping on people part-time in a healing center in Augusta, Georgia, doing okay work, but not it. For some reason, it was very different than at the chiropractor's office at this. And I think I know why now, just looking back. Like, it was a massage place. Like, it was a pampering spa-like massage place. And I had to, like, try to get my clients to be quiet because some people can be really loud when you're stepping on them.
Right.
And the mindset was just different. When you're coming to, like, a healing center, spa-like massage place, you're not thinking, this is something clinically designed to get me out of pain. Whereas I actually think at the chiropractor's office, people were like, I'm not here to get pampered.
Yeah.
Do whatever you have to do to me to get me out of pain is kind of the mindset they had. And I think literally that mindset made almost every client there get out of pain.
Interesting. Because they were willing to.
That's why they were there. Mm-hmm. They weren't there to get pampered. So I was getting people at that place. I was doing Rossiter at the time.
Stepping at the healing center after. I gotcha.
But they were coming to me expecting pampering and filling out an intake form that included pain. And so I was like, well, if you're in pain, like, I'd like to do this other thing with you. Like, I don't do, like, And so it's just, and for those of you listening, like this is where my marketing chops started to kick in, and I wasn't good at it in the beginning, but I notice a lot, and I'm starting to notice patterns around why some people get results and some don't, and the mindset of some people who come with certain expectations. And someone really needs to come for the precise thing that you offer for it to be a good fit relationally and practically. Because if someone's expecting pampering and a massage and something that feels good, and then I'm like, okay, but your intake form says you're in pain. Like, do you want to address the pain? They're like, yeah, but I want to feel good while you get me out of pain. And then I step on them, and, you know, for most people, it's kind of intense. Some people call it painful. I like it, to get stepped on. So they didn't like that experience, and it didn't align with their expectations.
Yeah.
And so that's just never a good thing. So yeah, so I was working very part-time, probably seeing people a week, while working for my dad, who's a coin dealer. And I wanted to get out of the South so bad.
Heard that.
So
I grew up in Texas, for the record, so that's why I relate.
it was very hard to save money at that time. It was very hard to make enough money to save money at that time after the 2008 crash.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there was just a lull in my life, you might say, where I was just trying to figure out how the heck to get out of there.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, I was attending like these 20 Rossiter workshops, and then one of them was in Fort Collins, Colorado. And my grandmother, thank you, Grandma, gave me the money to fly to Denver and then find my way to Fort Collins, for this Rossiter workshop. And I fell in love with Colorado. And this would have been, I believe, 2010.
Okay.
So from 2008-9 to 2010 was kind of my Rossiter. It's a 2.5 to 3 year period of attending all these workshops while stepping on people very part-time, working for my dad. But like I was trying to step on everybody in my family and any of my friends who would let me.
How'd that go?
It went really well with my mom, not so well with my aunt and uncle, really well with one of my cousins, not so well with my brother, and my dad wouldn't let me step on him. So
Across the board.
yeah. If I could go back in time now with what I know, I could have talked my dad into it, and maybe he wouldn't have had his leg amputated.
Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah. So that was that. And meanwhile, still can't run, can't hike without knee pain. I was trying. So I was attending all of these Rossiter workshops, and I never felt different in my body. I never felt significant change in my physiology, in my actual body, and I couldn't hike and run again.
You still weren't discouraged, though.
For some reason, I wasn't.
I guess it's somewhat of a mind-bending part of your story for me, because I just project myself onto that situation and go, I don't know if I would have felt that way. But nonetheless, like, you were soldiering on. Well, not even soldiering on. You were still enthused.
Well, here's the thing. So this podcast is about the origins of Kinetix, and Kinetix is a mapping methodology. It is not a modality. It does not partner fascia release only. And my experience here that I'm sharing is why the methodology exists. Because when you just throw modalities at bodies hoping it works, you don't get answers. And if you don't have answers, you can't be methodical and systematic and intentional and conscious about what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're just throwing the kitchen sink at it.
Okay, so I want to kind of traverse, like, how did you get from where you're at in 2010, you're going to Fort Collins, to this becoming something that's a lot more like a method that turns into Kinetix. So
yeah.
What happens next? Take us to where you and Jess reconnect.
Yeah. So Jess is, those of you that have been hanging out with me a while will be like, Jess, I've heard the story.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get her on a podcast one day.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
She is publicity shy for reasons I can't go into. But Jess is someone I've known since 7th grade. So we grew up together until I moved away from California when I was 17. But we knew each other from 7th grade forward and spent junior high and high school together, or half of high school. We weren't like best friends growing up, but we were close. Like we were in the same kind of circle, clique, whatever. And then we reconnected on Facebook in like 2008, 2009, somewhere in there, I think. So we were kind of like tracking each other through Facebook at this point.
Were you publicly writing about
a little
your
bit.
work?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I was just sharing Rossiter pictures and pictures of me stepping on people and random pictures of my food, like people do. And it was just friends.
Yeah.
It was unfathomable at that time what it would become to me. So yeah, Jess and I reconnected through Facebook and then started talking on the phone a lot and realized like, wow, we have a lot in common and we're kind of on similar journeys, but like we don't live near each other. She was still in California. I was in South Carolina. And I ended up flying to California and spending about a month with her in December of 2009, maybe. So I think this was after I'd quit the massage, the chiropractor job, and just kindled a deep friendship. So after that visit, we just started talking all the time. And like at that point, it was like, you're my best friend. We're best friends, aren't we? Yes, we are. Okay. And I think, we were both a little lonely for friends that really got us. And we both went through really, really, really dark, hard things in 7th grade, the year we met. Mm-hmm. And then I visited Colorado to go to that Rossiter workshop in 2010. And I called Jess, I think from a bus, if I remember, because I was taking the bus. I called her on the bus and said, is there any way you would ever move to Colorado? Because I want to move here and I think we should move here together. And she was like, hell no.
Why?
I don't, she's a California girl.
Yeah.
When you grew up in Sebastopol,
yeah,
and your family's there, and then you went to school in Santa Cruz, and then you worked in San Francisco, and you lived on a sailboat in Sausalito, and that's your life. Like you don't fathom leaving.
Yeah, I mean, it's a cool place.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay. But she was really sick, and at the time, like had a lot of health issues going on. So I was like, okay, well, not yet, but I think this is going to happen.
Your campaign began.
Yes. And so it was about 8 months later that I had the opportunity to go to a entrepreneur hippie camp hangout event in Sedona, Arizona, or outside of Sedona, Arizona at Eden Hot Springs. In the spring of 2011. And I called Jess up that, I don't know, probably February or something. I was like, Jess, I think you should pack your car with whatever will fit, and I'll pack mine, and we should go to this event together in Arizona.
Wait, you said you got invited to go there?
Yes. I had no savings at this time. My dad was paying me a certain amount of money monthly to help him write a book, which was going really slowly.
Yeah.
And really, he was just trying to help me. He was trying to help himself too, but he was trying to help me in a dignified way rather than just giving me money. And he knew I was having a hard time finding jobs and making money. Mm. And I just saw it as my escape. My dad saw this event as a way to promote his business through me. It was going to be quite a few people there. The person putting it on was very prominent in the blossoming online entrepreneur world.
Yeah.
And her philosophy very much aligned with my parents, and they were really interested to see if like maybe they could align with her and buy land and build community. Because anyway, so I was like this messenger of my dad's business in the coin and money history world. Money and the Evolution of Consciousness was the book we were writing, like the history of money and the evolution of human consciousness. And so I submitted a proposal to give a talk on that topic at this event.
Got it.
And my dad paid for me to attend. And so it was my escape. And I packed my car with everything I owned that would fit in the car. My little Subaru. Little did I know, I bought the state car of Colorado in Georgia.
Right.
And I convinced Jess to do the same thing and meet me in Arizona for this event. And she did. She said yes. She packed her car. She met me in Arizona, had an amazing time at this event. And within 1 week of camping in the desert of Arizona, her health issues started to improve.
Yeah.
And so she was like, whoa, I don't know why my health is improving, but we were hanging out in an Airbnb in Sedona, Arizona after the event. And she looks at me and she's like, Lishi Lala, I'll follow you anywhere now. Where do you want to go?
Yeah.
I was like, we're going to Colorado. And I think at that point, it was just like we were on an adventure.
Yeah.
And God, it was I have such fond memories of this time, but I had no money. I had no idea how I was going to make any of this work. I had no credit cards. I'd actually had to stop paying on all my debt. And so I had like the worst credit score imaginable at the time. I didn't know anything about money in the modern world. I knew a lot about the history of money.
Yeah.
But no practical skills for dealing with credit cards and debt and credit scores and that kind of thing. But we came to Colorado, and within 2 weeks, we ended up signing a year's lease.
You came straight to Boulder?
Longmont first.
Okay.
Stayed in a house here for 2 weeks
That's
while
right,
we looked
yeah.
for a place to live.
That's right.
And then ended up in a mountain house above Boulder, Colorado in Pine Brook Hills, which is now like, I don't even know if people can find rooms and houses there.
Yeah. You have to be a multimillionaire to rent a room in a house there.
But it was very affordable for me at the time, $550 a month for my room in that house. And so, Jess loaned me money to move into that house. And I needed to pay her back, but she loaned me money. So we moved into this house, and within 2 weeks of moving in, I was like, okay, this is it. And I again just kind of looked at Jess and I was like, Jess, will you learn to step on me and help me hike and run again? And she was like, sure, that sounds fun.
So I just want to backtrack just a second, just to make sure that I'm understanding the whole story.
Mm-hmm.
You have been to like 20 Rossiter workshops and probably worked with a bunch of people at that point. And you still hadn't gotten out of pain.
Nope.
You were still very optimistic, obviously. Mm-hmm. And were you experimenting with your kind of new way of doing things that you started to develop in the
it
chiropractors?
Wasn't conscious, but yes. Mm-hmm. The clunk was like it. I was like, it's all about the clunk. It's just, this is magical. Like you find the clunk, you shear it, people get out of pain.
So when you taught Jess, you were
correct.
Teaching her in that way.
Exactly.
Well, I jumped the gun, but presumably she said yes.
Well, yeah, she said, sure, that sounds fun.
Yeah, okay, you did say that. That's right.
Yeah. Literally her words. And that woman, so grateful.
Yeah.
It was fun. It was so fun. Like no one had fun with me. Up until then, it was so serious. And, I don't know, maybe I was serious about it, but like, Jess has a certain nature about her where she brings playfulness.
Yeah.
And I guess I really needed that, or I needed permission to be playful with it. And it didn't take much convincing for me to be playful with it.
Yeah.
So I taught her how to step on me by stepping on her. So I would step on her, and then she would step on me, and then I would step on her, and then she would step on me. And I taught her like 40 techniques that I knew, head to toe. We weren't discriminating. We weren't trying to throw the kitchen sink. So I started off with theories. I had theories by this point of how I wanted to do it differently than anyone had tried to do it with me before. First of all, yes, I wanted to do the compression and sharing, and I had been told repeatedly, don't do that in Rossiter workshops and with Rossiter people, stepping on me to try to help me. So that was one difference that I now know and made a very big difference in terms of my results. It's definitely not the full story, and it's not as magical as it may sound to some people. It is magical.
Mm-hmm.
There's still a magical quality to this compression and sharing. When someone is ready for it, when they're receptive, it is magical. It's like magic. People get out of pain within minutes still. But there's a lot more to the human organism and to the body and to fascia and to pain than that.
For sure.
So my theory at this point was like, let's just step on all of me. Like, let's get all of my fascia stepped on as much as humanly possible, and that might be my best chance at running again.
Why was that your theory at this point? Because what you told me earlier is in Rossiter, it was kind of prescriptive in the sense that, like, hey, if somebody has knee pain, it's probably the calf or IT band or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you had theories probably that were informed by that, I would guess.
No.
Okay, so
those never made sense to me.
So why did you decide to teach Jess all 40 of them rather than like, hey, it's your friend willing to help you?
Well, doesn't it kind of make sense that if this thing is going to heal me and help me,
Mm-hmm.
then it just kind of makes sense to do it everywhere? It's like if
Not
you're
necessarily.
Why not?
I'm
so interested in like things that I think are logical aren't logical to other people. So I'm trying to.
Well, what I know is, like, with those 40 techniques, like you said, they're head to toe. So I would never think that stepping on even the hip flexor, much less the bicep, would have anything. Like, I wouldn't think that I would need to do that if I was trying to hike and run again.
Well, I just figured if getting stepped on is, as I believe it is, the thing that's going to help me hike and run again, then why guess which technique it is? Why not do all of them?
So that's how you were thinking
yes,
at that time.
Because that's what everyone else had done up to that point for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Let me try this technique. Nope, didn't work. Okay, let me try this other technique. Nope, didn't work. So like my theory was, let's step on everything a lot.
Uh-huh. And that was just logical. I mean, it does make sense in a way. It was logical to you.
Yes.
Okay.
So about 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later, something like that, I'd been stepped on a lot. We were doing stepping sessions 3 to 4 times a week. And so I was like, okay, Jess, let's go run. You want to run? And part of the reason I think she felt like this would be fun is because she likes to run also, but she doesn't like to run alone. And so we were living in this mountain house with this amazing trail right outside our door, and we wanted to run together. That felt more fun. So if I was going to be able to run with her, she would have to help me run again. Like she was it. I don't know. Everybody else had tried. She didn't look at it that way. It's not like she said to herself, oh, I have to help her. I'm it.
Right.
She didn't think that. But yeah, so we made a date to run, decided on the route we would go, like how far we would test it. And I laced up my shoes. At this point, I had trail running shoes, I think, that I'd gotten.
Yeah, I saw those Nike Shocks that you had when you first moved to Colorado.
Yeah.
Anyhow.
So funny. And yeah, we set out, stepped onto the trail, started running, and within 2 minutes or a minute, the same knife-like stabbing pain in my knees was happening. But I was committed to the whole run, which lasted about 30 minutes. So unlike before, when I had been testing it with Richard Rossiter, for example, where he would do one technique, then I'd run out the door, run for 3 minutes, and then come back, I was committed to running the whole 30 minutes, even though I was in pain. Mm-hmm. And my orientation this time was completely different. My mindset was, I'm going to learn as much as I can from the pain while I'm running.
Yeah.
And so this is something that I now teach, and it's called the noticing game and the what if game. There are 2 games you can play. You can make this fun. Solving pain can be fun. And so while I was running and there was this, stabbing knife-like pain in my knees, for some reason, I just wasn't afraid of it. I thought I had this feeling, this instinct and intuition, in part due to something Richard told me, which is not novel to him. Lots of people say this, but he was the first person to tell me or tell us in a class, and it changed my life. He said, pain is just information. Mm-hmm. No one had ever told me that. And I instantly knew that that's true. Like, it just felt like truth. So if pain is information, well, I want to know what the information is. Yeah. Because I'm not satisfied just saying, well, pain is information. Who cares what it means? No. I want to know what it means. If I'm in pain and pain is information, then it's probably information I need because my body's giving me the information. It's not giving it to you.
Yeah.
It wasn't giving it to Jess. It wasn't giving it to Richard. I'm the receiver of the information and I can't interpret it. And so I was orienting to it like my body's giving me information and it's information that I need. And I need to be able to interpret it. So let me dance with it. Let me run with it. Let me move with it. Let me get curious about it. Let me try to think with it. This is the first experience of me trying to think with my body and think with pain and think with fascia. So while I was running, I'm like running on the trail and I'm like, not exactly closing my eyes because I have to watch the trail, but you might be able to imagine if you're listening to this, kind of closing your inner eyes where you don't take in the world as much. You take in what you need to not to trip, but then you go inward. And so I was going inward with my mind's eye, with my consciousness, and going right to the knee pain. Mm-hmm. And really trying to listen to it, to feel it fully. I was like, okay, it's sharp. It's kind of stabbing. It's more on the outside of my knee than the inside. Interesting. I've never noticed that before. What if I run on my toes? Oh, that makes it worse, but I'm already kind of a toe runner. Interesting. What if I push through my heels more? It's a little less. Okay, well, calf fascia is the tightest in my body. Like, my calves are so knotted up, it's not even funny. So, what might that do to my knee joint? Well, the outer part of my upper calf is so knotted up. It seems possible that it could pull on my kneecap, like fabric, like a puppet on a string. Mm. And what if it was kind of like pulling my kneecap off the bursa? Yeah, that seems possible. Like,
and Jess was she like thinking all of this through with you? Were
no,
you talking about it?
We were just running.
Okay.
I mean, she was probably like, "You okay, Elisha?"
Yeah.
She's the only one allowed to call me that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was just noticing as much as I could about the pain, but then I was also trying to think through and think with how my body with its distinct parts would respond to the fascia being the way it was that we were discovering by stepping on me. And so this was one of the ways too that I've, this is the beginnings of mapping. Mm-hmm. Like mapping my fascia onto my gait. So I noticed during this run for the first time in my life that I was a toe runner. Like I ran on my toes. And if you run on your toes, you're absolutely going to wind up your calf fascia. And you're not going to use your glutes and your hamstrings to run.
What made you, this is, I guess, more of a personal curiosity, but like that didn't happen when you first went out to run when Richard stepped on you?
No. I was only hoping to feel no pain. And I was not oriented to noticing.
But also you weren't thinking imaginatively
No.
and going how while you were doing the activity and imagining how things might be connected or any of that.
Mm-mm.
And did that just kind of come organically how did that come up?
Well, I'll just speak from personal experience, I guess, because this probably doesn't happen for everybody. I was about to say, when you start working with real people in pain, when I started working with real people in pain and they started to get out of pain by me shearing these giant adhesions in their IT bands or their calves or their quads, I would think it would be natural for other people, but maybe it's not. But I naturally wanted to think that through. Why did that work?
I see.
Why does it not work sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
Like what is going on? Like, this is fascinating.
So you had already had some experience helping other people, even though you hadn't.
Yes.
I see.
The mapping didn't exist. It was I was throwing a modality at them.
Yeah.
And it was working. But I couldn't have told them why.
Right.
And if you can't answer the question why someone is in pain, like, why am I in pain? If you don't know, you can't prevent it from coming back, even if you feel better.
Yeah.
So I wanted to not only help people get out of pain, I wanted to help them prevent it from coming back. That's what I wanted for me. I didn't want to just get rid of the pain like once
Yeah.
and be able to run once. I wanted to feel confident that I could run without the fear that the pain would just come back any moment and I'd be back where I was before.
Yeah. Okay, so I
It's
interrupted.
a great question. Like, I'm glad you asked that.
Yeah. Yeah, so what ended up happening on the trail with Jess?
Well, that day, nothing interesting happened except I noticed a lot. And so then but then I did debrief it with Jess afterwards. She was like, and I was telling her, I'm in pain, because this was the first run I had done, a significant run, 30 minutes in the mountains at 7,000 feet elevation to the top of Mount Sanitas.
Yeah.
Not from the bottom, by the way. Anyone who knows, just we lived up in the mountains, kind of behind it. And so, yeah, we were talking a little bit, but not a lot. But then we debriefed it after. And so Jess was essentially a partner in curiosity for me, where we got to think it through together and notice things together. She was noticing me. Hey, do you notice that when she would step on me? And then she was also doing the what if game with me. What if we did this? And what if we tried it this way? And what if we did something, something else? And what if your knee pain is related to your thoughts? I don't remember which theories were hers and which were mine. It's all kind of a blur of togetherness. But we were both asking what if questions like that and out loud of each other and of ourselves, and then just like thinking it through. And it was after that first run that either her or I'm going to give her the credit. It wouldn't surprise me if this was Jess's idea, but somebody said, probably Jess, what if we tried to release your calf fascia on the trail, like during a trail run? And it was like, yeah, let's do that. Like, that would be fascinating. Like, that would be really interesting. And so I still felt like, even though we'd been doing my whole body and I was trying to go with that theory, at this point, I was now trying to be more strategic because I had thought it through on that run. I'm a toe runner.
Well, I guess too, you probably, having stepped on so much by that point, you're probably starting to get to know your body better and know like what's what.
Definitely. Yeah. Jess. So I was stepping on Jess. She was getting to know her body. She was stepping on me. I was getting to know my body really well. And this honestly is, to me, the most powerful aspect of Kinetix. It will help you get to know yourself like what's muscle, what's bone, what's fascia, what's the difference between those, muscle and fascia. It'll help you get to know your blood vessels. It'll help you get to know like your life of feelings, like your sensations and your instincts and your Yeah, exactly. So the next, I don't know, it was like 2 or 3 days later, we decided to do this experiment. So we tried it at home first and we're like, yeah, that's good enough. This is really, weird configuration of 2 people trying to do partner fascia release on a trail. So we figured out that if Jess kneeled on the ground with, one knee up and one knee on the ground, and I put my shin on her quad, her thigh, then I would be able to put my fist into my calf and she would grab my wrist and pull down and we would get pretty good weight onto my calf. And then I would point and flex my foot and do circles and hunt out the adhesions.
I'm smiling a little bit because I know the trail and I can imagine that happening on that trail. And it's probably something stranger than usually happens on that trail. Like,
well, there weren't that many people on it back then.
Because it wasn't a
there wasn't
access trail.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah. Interesting. Mm-hmm. Anyhow,
well, part of what we did was yeah. So for some very weird reason, I told Jess I want to do something committing. Like I want this to be a real experiment, not just like a puny one. And so we charted a route for our trail run where we were going to do this experiment of her helping me release my calf fascia on the trail. In between bouts of running, we were going to try to run the whole thing basically. But we charted a route that would go from our house towards Kinetix, and then it would go down this deer trail, like through the woods, about a mile or maybe a mile and a half to Sunshine Canyon, the road. And then we would run alongside the road down to the start of the Mount Kinetix trail that goes to the top of Mount Kinetix, that I think is like 1,700 feet elevation. I don't know exactly what it is. Straight up a bunch of rocks, big steps. And then we would be able to go down a hill, like kind of over the along the ridge a little bit, and then down a hill, and then back to the house. So it would be like this loop, and it was going to be about 5 miles with a lot of elevation descent and then regain. And yeah, so we set off a couple days later on this very committing run. I hadn't been able to run for 8 years at this point without knee pain. And as soon as we started, the same thing happened as always. Knife-like, stabbing, sharpshooting pain in my knees, both knees. And so we ran for about 5 to 10 minutes until I was like, okay, yeah, that hurts really bad. Let's try it. And so then we tried this thing of her kneeling down and me putting my shin on her thigh and then me putting my fist into my calf and her pulling down on my wrist and then me pointing and flexing my foot. And I think I did like 2 or 3 spots per calf and then started running again. And the very first time I ran after doing that on the trail, I got 30 seconds of pain-free running for the first time in 8 years. And I was absolutely over the moon, like 1,000% committed and 1,000% sure it was working. And I want to pause here for anyone listening and point out that what I'm describing right now, the reason this is the origin story of Kinetix is because having a positive aim, like the freedom to run again, is part of the mapping methodology. Because without a positive aim, we can't map the human psychology terrain necessary to see what's in the way at a subconscious level.
Yeah.
our beliefs and our stories and our meanings and and the mindset, the outlook we have about something, the expectations we bring to it, determine what happens.
You're saying that in relation to what you just said, because you actually, and you've told this story before, but you could have said,
a lot of people in my shoes, I think would have, so the pain came back after 30 seconds, as bad as ever. Sharp, stabbing, knife-like pain in both knees.
yeah.
And at that point, I could have said, this is ridiculous. Like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why on earth do I think that this is going to work? You've tried for 3 years to get people to step on you in the Rossiter community. That didn't work. You even had Richard Rossiter do it. And if he couldn't figure out what makes you think you and Jess can figure it out. And like, only 30 seconds? You freaking kidding me? Like, I'm done. But no, that's not what happened. I was running and I was like, Jess, it's pain-free. Like, this is amazing. Like, oh my God. And then the pain came back and I was just like, okay, all right. Let me see how long I can tolerate it. And then we're going to do it again. And so like, it was probably another 10 minutes. And then I was like, okay, Jess, we need to do it again. And so we did it again. And same thing happened. As soon as we released my calf fascia and I started running again, it was like pain-free running, like euphoria, like the freedom, the feeling of freedom was mine. Like I was free. Mm-hmm. That running represented freedom to me. And I was running without pain or fear of pain. And then the pain came back as bad as ever. And so we ran for another, I don't know, 10 minutes or so. And this carried on the whole run. And I think in that initial run, and this trail run, you guys, if you ever come to Boulder and you maybe do a hike with me or anything, or if you live in Boulder, like essentially today, if you were to come here, what you would have to do this trail run, you can't do the whole thing, but you would maybe drive up to Pine Brook Hills and then find the neighborhood trail that leads to the Lion's Lair Trail. And then you'd take the Lion's Lair Trail down to Sunshine Canyon, the road, and then you'd run alongside. They now have a trail system for this. It's officially a trail now. It wasn't then. Then you'd run down the Sunshine Canyon Trail to Sanitas, and then you'd run as much as you could of the uphill to the top of Sanitas, which like is a real ass kicker.
It's gnarly.
And then you'd run down a steep hill without a trail because there wasn't a trail. And then you'd catch the neighborhood trail back to our house. So yeah, tons of downhill. For anyone that's ever had knee pain, downhill is the hardest part. It hurts the worst. I now know why. I didn't then. But yeah, so the pain came back and we had to do this about 10 times. 12 times, something like that. And literally the same thing happened every time. We would do this thing where we would be releasing my calf fascia and then I'd get 30 seconds of pain-free running. And then the pain would come back. It happened every single time. So it was an interesting pattern though. And the way that I oriented to it, like I was so happy. I was just like, Jess, it's working. Can we do it again? Like in a few days?
What did she think about that?
You know Jess.
Uh-huh.
She holds things really lightly. And so she was like, yay.
That's great.
That's great. She was neither over the moon nor disappointed.
Right.
She was
Which
holding.
Probably you needed.
I needed. Yeah. I think most of us do. This also informs the Kinetix methodology.
Yeah.
What Jess did that summer for me is teach me essentially the components of of Kinetix.
Yeah.
From the relational and partnership aspect to the mapping to the mindset and everything. The what if game and the noticing together. The art of partnership. yeah, so she was like, okay, Lishi, let's do it again.
Yeah.
So a few days later, we decided to do that exact same trail. And I think in between, we were stepping on each other. So we were doing full stepping sessions. We just found it really cathartic and fun. We loved, I don't know, it was really fun. So we're still doing a lot of stepping on each other without trying to like fix me during the sessions. And so a few days later, we did that exact same trail again. And in my mind, what I was expecting to happen, this is what felt logical to me, is that if the first time we did it, I was getting 30 seconds of pain-free running, then the second time I'd probably be able to stretch it into a minute.
Yeah.
And then if I could stretch, and then the next time after that, I could stretch a minute into 2 and it would keep
Makes
doubling.
sense.
And then eventually I'd be pain-free.
Right.
That was my mindset. But what happened instead is I laced up my shoes. We went out the door and started running, and there was no pain for 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then the pain came back as bad as ever. But I did not care because I got 5 minutes of pain-free running when I expected a minute. So I felt like I'd been gifted, something way beyond what I had wanted or asked for.
I would guess at that point you're starting, like your intuitions are feeling you're feeling validated in some way. Were you having that
Yes.
experience?
1,000%. I already had that with the 30 seconds. I was like, everything I've known ever since Chuck stepped on my calf that first time is now coming true.
Yeah.
Now it's coming more true with the 5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay.
And so what happened with that run is she had to step on me maybe 5 or 6 times. I still had lots of knee pain during that run. Most of the run was painful. But every time after we released my calf fascia, I got 5 minutes of pain-free running. And I was like, oh my God, what if I could stretch 5 minutes into 10? I was still thinking so small-mindedly. And I was so grateful. Like, I literally think I was a being made of gratitude that summer. Like, there was not anything else in my system but gratitude. Like, I don't remember feeling anything else that summer but gratitude.
Yeah.
And enthusiasm. I was so grateful to be in Colorado. I was so grateful to my dad for helping me get there. I was so grateful to Jess for saying yes and then for helping me. I was so grateful for those 30 seconds. I was so grateful for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And of course, now there's like tons of neuroscience on the power of gratitude and for neuroplasticity and all kinds of things. So like,
but it was authentic.
But it was authentic, and I wasn't trying to rewire my brain.
Yeah. Right.
I wasn't trying to rewire my nervous system.
Yeah.
I didn't really even know what that was back then.
Yeah, we talked about this a couple of days ago, like how much of a difference it makes when, if I'm trying to be a confident person, that's just not the same as going through a life experience that engenders confidence and it comes about organically. And that happened for you with gratitude.
Yeah. So there's so much that we know now, which I think is great. But I wasn't trying to use gratitude to change my circumstance.
Right.
And I do think that matters.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's hard you can't fake gratitude.
Yeah.
I mean, some people claim you can
A lot
fake
of
it till you
people
make
try,
it.
yeah.
But, and we'll record podcasts, I'm sure, on that because the body will tell you when you're faking it.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, so 5 minutes pain-free running. I was over the moon. Absolutely gobsmacked that this was my life, and I was so lucky to have this experience. And I wanted to do it again because, like I said, I figured if we can do 5 minutes, we can stretch it into 10. And we were still stepping. And I think, I don't know, at this point, probably because neither Jess nor I had been running a whole lot in our lives, and we had just moved to Boulder and it was at elevation. And I think, I don't know, I don't actually, we weren't working out yet then, but we did end up doing a lot of like working out together. But like, I think we gave it a week or something in between to recover. But we were still stepping on each other. So we're still doing like 3 to 4 stepping sessions a week. And then went out for the third run of this experiment, the fourth run for me in 5 years, or in 5 years, in 8 years. And this time,
You still feel it, huh?
I do. Yeah. Almost the whole thing was pain-free. I had like, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes of some pain, minor pain in my knees. And so she had to step on me once. Or not step on me. We had to do this thing once.
Yeah.
And that, in a nutshell, very long story, was it. I mean, there is more to the story for Kinetix, but for me, like, I was running pain-free after that. I was hiking pain-free after that. I didn't need to do anything on the trail like that to be okay on the trail. I have had, there were like probably 3 or 4 times after that I had a little knee pain while hiking or climbing a 14er. And then I would just, use my jacket and find a rock and put my jacket on the rock and put my knee on the jacket and then, and then put my fist into it and point and flex, and then I'd be good to go.
Yeah.
So I had to do that a couple times, but then I was like, I haven't needed it to run or hike since, which is kind of astonishing.
Yeah.
Especially given the state of my fascia today.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what did you have at that point that was different from what you learned? In other words, you learned throughout all of these experiences, from the chiropractor to going to other Rossiter workshops and saying like, well, I'm doing something a little different here. And then you had your experience with Jess where it sounds like a lot of things different happened and you really started thinking differently about it all.
Yeah,
So,
we were essentially mapping me.
Yeah.
Without calling it that. We were mapping.
I was just going to say, so you carried that with you.
Well, something very important happened that summer that without it, the mapping method couldn't have come into existence. Which is that, so Jess and I were stepping on each other 3 to 4 times a week. And I don't know, probably took a month for me to be running pain-free completely, like this story that I just told. But we kept stepping on each other and then would go running. And so what ended up happening that summer is we would do stepping sessions right before running because it felt, for both of us, it felt so good to run after getting stepped on, because we were both, after getting stepped on, feeling lighter and more buoyant and more fluid and free. And we felt energized and we wanted to do something with the energy. And running just felt like better than pain-free. It was like floating, like being carried on a wave. It's difficult to describe this feeling if you've never had it, and I had never had it as an adult. The best way I know how to describe it is if you remember what it's like to be a kid, where you just felt like you could bounce off of everything and not injure yourself, and you have exuberant, abundant energy, and you just feel like you're kind of invincible.
Yeah.
That's how it felt. And so we were stepping and running like 2 to 3 times a week. And then about 6 to 8 weeks later, nothing hurt to get stepped on. So it no longer hurt when she was stepping on my calves, which were like excruciating in the beginning.
Yeah.
And no one had told me that this would happen. No one told me this was even possible. No one had mentioned this in the Rossiter world or massage world or anything like that. It was almost disappointing because we didn't expect it. And these stepping sessions were kind of fun because they were intense, like the noises and the swearing and the laughing and the giggling and, like, I don't know, comparing what hurts her versus me and being just fascinated by it all. And then it stopped hurting. Like nothing hurt
both of you.
for both of us.
Yeah.
But we were doing head to toe sessions. Like we were doing full body, everything. And so like we would then only do the places that still hurt a little, and then eventually nothing hurt. And that is how I learned that healthy fascia doesn't hurt when compressed. And I hadn't been taught that, and that felt like really important information. And it corresponded to this feeling of lightness and buoyancy and abundant energy in my body and our bodies, because we both had the experience. And so I equated them as linked. Compression and sharing of fascia makes fascia so healthy it no longer hurts to get stepped on, and it produces the feeling of lightness and buoyancy in the body. And so I called it optimized fascia. When your fascia is optimized, you'll have a feeling of lightness and buoyancy in your body, where you feel like you can just run down mountains. And now I can explain it scientifically. I couldn't then, but you can. If your fascia is healthy enough, you can run down mountains without incurring any mechanical stress to your physiology.
Okay.
So that helped me turn what happened that summer into a mapping methodology in its most basic form shortly after when I opened my practice in Boulder.
Okay, so how did you get there? Because if I'm remembering correctly, you were like doing some demos trying to step on people when you got to Boulder, or maybe not long thereafter, but you didn't have a private practice yet. And there's something really important from here that I feel like should be shared in this story, and that's you got a job.
Oh. You think that's important for this story?
Well, I do. Because you had so much faith in what this was, and you started to have a better understanding of what it was, but then you weren't ready to make the leap and say, I'm going to open up a private practice.
Yeah. So I was doing a lot of, I would offer to step on people who came to our house as we were like meeting people and establishing a little bit of community. Because there were four of us living there. So there were two other roommates, not just Jess and me. And that was interesting because not everybody was orienting to it the way Jess and I were. Like we found it fun.
Yeah.
And we liked the way it felt, even though it hurt. Like it was kind of a fascinating hurt, even if it hurt. And we were curious about that together. And so some people were like, why does it hurt? Does it have to hurt? And some people were like, wow, this is amazing. And I worked on some of our friends and they got out of pain. So it was kind of a mixed bag. But yeah, I was still getting paid to work for my dad a little bit. And then he cut me off and he needed to. He didn't have the money to pay me anymore. And it ultimately was a very good thing that he did that. And so it was like, okay, I either need to turn this into a full-time career and open a private practice, which I hadn't done. So when I graduated from massage school, I got a job. I had a job waiting for me in a chiropractor's office. Then I was hired as a licensed massage therapist who steps on people in a kind of spa healing center place. And that was it. So my only experience in the healing arts was getting a job. And I wanted ultimately a private practice, but I didn't think, meaning like me, I own my practice. I'm not employed. But I didn't think that I could establish a private practice in 30 days. And I had 30 days to figure out how to make enough money to pay rent because I had $30 in the bank account and I still needed to pay Jess back.
Yeah, that's right.
And so, yeah, I got a job in a healing center where I figured like maybe they would eventually want me to step on people there. Small-mindedness, lack of faith. And And yeah, the job was absolutely terrible. I was treated very terribly by the person training me. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for treating me terribly. So I quit. I told them I was going into a trauma response, being there, and quit after 4 days. And so by that point, I had 2 weeks to pay rent and $300 in the bank account. And I was like, okay, I got to make this work. I know I can help people. Like, I know I can help people get out of pain. So yeah, I built a website and got business cards and found a place to work out of where I would pay per session. So I didn't have to like pay rent for an office because I didn't have the money for that. So I'd only pay if I had clients. And it was in a small personal training gym in Boulder. And I asked if it would be okay with the guy who owned the place if I approached the personal trainers there and offered them sessions. And he said, yeah, sure, no problem. Because if I'm winning, he's winning, making money. So I approached about 4 or 5 of the personal trainers at this gym and said, hey, I'm new to town. I do something that no one else in town does. It's, a way I step on people and release fascia. If you want to try it, I can help people get out of pain. So if you have pain, I'd love to help you get out of pain. And then if you have a good experience and you want to send clients to me, I'd really appreciate that. So yeah, about 4 or 5 said yes. And they all got out of pain in about 20 minutes, getting stepped on by me, which they found crazy. And so all of them sent me clients. And yeah, with the very first client, that a personal trainer in Boulder named Russ, shout out Russ. I don't know if you'll ever listen to this, but you're an awesome human being, and I'm very grateful to you. He's a great personal trainer. Very collaborative, not competitive. Didn't feel threatened by me at all because he helps people deal with pain and injuries, but from a personal training side of things. But yeah, he sent me one of his clients who was a jiu-jitsu fighter and owned a jiu-jitsu gym. 6'2" guy, he loved getting stepped on. He said, in the first session, you forever ruined me on massages because none of them were deep enough for him. And he had pre-arthritis in his hands and had been told he needed to stop doing jiu-jitsu or he would be a crippled arthritic old man. And he was only like 34 at the time. Mm-hmm. And he got out of pain and we totally and completely and utterly reversed his pre-arthritis. Like no hint of it, nothing. Very quickly. So he sent a bunch of clients to me. He bought a package for $675 and that allowed me to pay rent. Very cheap back then, $67 a session.
So I think what is interesting about this to me is like you had confidence in Kinetix, and it's completely there was a real moment of doubt for you.
It was not doubt in my abilities.
Okay.
I doubted that I could make enough money in 30 days to pay rent.
I see. Okay.
I figured it would take, this is, kind of like, I was like, well, if I got 30 seconds, I can stretch it into a minute. And if I could get a minute, then I could stretch it into 2. Clearly, I was not thinking very big back then.
Yeah.
My risk tolerance was low for setting myself up for expectations of any kind. Like I didn't want to, I was humble enough to be grateful for 30 seconds, and I didn't want to be so expectant to expect more than I deserved, let's say, or more than would be offered to me by my body, by God, by life, however you want to word that. It's like I'd be grateful for a minute. And then if I could get a minute, I'd be really grateful for 2. I don't know. There's just something like, why would I think to myself, like, I deserve 100% immediately? Sure. Like that is like what a lot of people feel, I guess. But like, I didn't have that attitude, I guess. So, but the same thing was happening with my private practice. I just didn't think I thought it would take me 6 months to be able to build up a clientele.
Well, it makes sense. because it usually does.
Yeah, it's usually a lot longer than that.
Yeah.
But mine was built very quickly. And, but what happened in the beginning, so because I really needed my clients to get results in the first session, because I felt like
Pay rent, to be clear.
yes, so that they would come back.
Right.
And so that I could pay rent.
Yeah.
I guaranteed my work. So I said, if you don't get 50 to 100% reduction in pain during the first session, I will not take your money.
You just felt like you had to do that, or
I was doing it before then.
Interesting.
But now I've really felt like actually this is the time when I really need to, because I don't want money to be the thing that prevents people from coming. And I know what it's like to be the person in pain who spent thousands of dollars trying all kinds of things. Yeah. And then you walk out the door and you're like, oh, there goes more money down the drain. And then you just never go back and you never give them the feedback. So I didn't want that to be happening with people. I really only want to take people's money if they're getting value out of it. Oh, and when people are in pain, what do they want? They want answers and they want results.
So that became a part of the method, like in a real...
I don't know if it's part of the method, but so one of the first principles of the Kinetix methodology is the nature of the relationship determines what is revealed. And money kind of colors and can poison the relationship right off the bat, like before you've even started. If you're like, I'm probably wasting my money on yet another practitioner. So I told every single client, if you do not get 50 to 100% reduction in pain during this session, I will not take your money. Mm-hmm. And some people felt really awkward with that. They were like, no, but your time is valuable. I'm like, yeah, I know, but... and so I felt like I needed a methodical way to get people answers and results.
Because of that promise.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to operate that way.
And did you know that you already had that to some degree because of your experience with Jess?
It gave me the one thing that I knew I could be methodical about. Mm-hmm. And this was the beginnings of the mapping methodology. Healthy fascia doesn't hurt when it's compressed. So if fascia is, if it hurts when I step on you, then it probably means your fascia is unhealthy. And if I can find the areas in your body where it hurts more or the most, then those spots are the unhealthiest. And I'm going to release those spots more than the other spots to balance you out. And that was my theory.
And did you find that to be true pretty quickly? Instantly. Yeah. Instantly. And that's why people came back.
And it's still true today.
Yeah.
And this is, it's not the only truth here.
Right.
It is not a guarantee of anything if you operate this way, because fascia won't change just because we want it to or perform certain techniques. And so, but yeah, so one of the very first clients I ever worked with there after the story I just told of the jiu-jitsu fighter, it was an entrepreneur who had the money to see the best people in Boulder if he wanted to, and he had been seeing the best people. He'd been to the physical therapists in town, the best physical therapists, the best massage therapists, the best personal trainers, the best surgeons, just to get their opinion too for his back pain. And I was handed a stack of papers this big, his file, with everything that everybody knew about his spine and his discs and his erectors. And I was supposed to use the file to help him, and it was given to me as if it might be useful to me. And I just said, I don't need that. His body's going to tell us what it needs.
Why did you know that you didn't need that? I would say that's not normal. because most people would go like, hey, the more information, the more data I have about this person, maybe the better I can help them.
I think my experience with Rossiter before that, along with all of my experiences going to doctors of various kinds, and getting like diagnosed with various things and then being prescribed something left a bad taste in my mouth and left me with the impression that when you project ideas onto the body, you miss the reality of it.
Did you have that consciously at that point, or it was more of like a
An instinct and intuition. And you might even say it was a reaction to those experiences to move in a different direction.
For sure.
To do something different.
So you threw away a stack of papers.
So I threw away the stack of papers and said, I'm going to map his legs and see, because I don't think his back pain is due to anything going on in the spine or the discs or his erectors. They're responding to what's happening in the legs because, I don't know, at that point I had been thinking things through more and more and more and more and more and more.
Noticing patterns, probably.
Noticing patterns, thinking about the law of reciprocal inhibition related to my own body. And so then I was thinking about that with all bodies. And I can maybe hear someone say, isn't that projecting ideas onto the body? And sure, it might. But I think it's helpful to understand physical, spiritual laws of reality. So like there are some very definite laws of reality that it's helpful to know. And I think other than the laws, we should throw every other idea out until we maybe need it and instead look to the body to tell us what's true.
Well, my experience working with you and watching and being a part of you working with other people at events and things like that are that even the laws, you say, okay, I know what they are. I'm going to put them aside for now. And then maybe a law will get changed. It's not a law in that case, but like, or something will get added to it or something like that.
Yeah, if I ever find out that something I've called a law is actually an untruth, I'll admit it and correct myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are very few actual laws that I work with. So yeah, I mapped his lower body, David. He got out of pain in one session. And the reason I know that it's possible to get people out of pain in one session now is this balancing of the system. When something is out of balance and you bring it into balance, boom, you're rewarded. Whether the balance or imbalance has to do with the musculoskeletal system and the joints and the alignment of the body and the kinetic chain, or alignment of joints and posture, gait, or whatever, or the imbalance might have to do with the laws of degeneration and regeneration, where it's skewed towards degeneration, or the laws have to do with psychology, like I was talking about with me. Yeah. Mindset and belief. Like if I believed it wasn't working, then I would have looked for proof it wasn't, and then I would have probably given up.
Mm-hmm. So that was pretty early on.
It was still very early, yes. And at this point, I was still calling it Rossiter, even though it wasn't, because I didn't know what else to call it. I'm very grateful to Richard. I'm very grateful for Rossiter coming into my life. It just didn't help me. I was told that if I was doing it the way I was doing it, it wasn't Rossiter. Like if I was doing hour-long sessions, it wasn't Rossiter. If I was clunking, it wasn't Rossiter. Like, okay, I'm probably not doing Rossiter. Yeah. But that's the technique, the modality. Kinetix is a mapping methodology.
Okay, so I'm going to try to wrap things up somewhat because we've been going for a while. But I guess what I want to ask in wrapping up here is like, when did you start to realize, oh, I have a method on my hands and I'm becoming more and more consciously aware of what that is and how it's unique?
I mean, it was right away because starting right away when I opened my practice, in this personal training gym, I had on my website, I wrote this on my website, and then I verbally told every client this and have strictly adhered to this exact thing ever since. We're going to map either your upper or lower body. So you're going to need to choose. Even if you have neck pain and plantar fasciitis today, we're only going to tackle one. Hey, maybe doing lower body for your plantar fasciitis affects your neck. We'll pay attention to that. But we're going to map either your lower or upper body. And so I've been doing that ever since then because it is so reliable. It is a very systematic and very methodical way of going about getting clients answers and results starting in the very first session. So I don't let my clients talk me out of this process. Many of them try to. I don't try to throw the kitchen sink. I don't just try to do, oh, well, let me do a few things for your neck and a few things for your knees or your plantar fasciitis, or let me see if I can get you out of your back pain and your neck pain during this session. I could probably do that, but we wouldn't know why either of those pains are happening.
It was always important for you to know why.
Yeah. Isn't that logical?
It is, yet it's not common.
I know. I don't understand. Like, this is my main complaint in the healing arts. Like, we don't, like, Western medicine prioritizes a certain kind of why by saying, like, oh, look, you have a bulging disc. That's why you have back pain. Even though that's utterly unscientific, because there are millions of people with bulging discs who have no pain. But they look for a reason. They try to give patients a reason.
Yeah, it's more of a granular explanation of symptoms than it is a...
Yes, it's not an actual why.
Yeah.
Because my question, if I'm that person, would be, why do I have a bulging disc?
Sure.
What caused that? And do all people with bulging discs have pain? And why do bulging discs cause pain?
Right.
So I like to know why. And that's what I wanted for me, because I always felt like if I don't know why, then I can't prevent it from coming back.
So let's just sort of recap where we're at here. Like you've started a private practice, things are going well, and you've learned a few things and you're starting to really come into your own. And what did you learn with Jess? You learned, well, yeah, like what are you seeing as the method at this point?
How much longer do we have? So I mean, I know we're trying to wrap it up.
I think I kind of just want to get a sense of like, we've gone on this journey of like, what is the origin of Kinetix?
Yeah.
And I think I'd like to end by kind of exploring what is this thing and who's it for? Like, why do you want to share it with the world?
Well, I was very conscious at the time that Jess did something with me that was very different from any practitioner I'd ever been to that I had to pay to help me. Mm-hmm. And so I tried to be Jess for my clients. Mm-hmm. So I tried to be a partner in curiosity. I tried to do the noticing game and the what if game.
Yeah.
I tried to hold everything lightly. Neither attached to them getting a result nor disappointed if they don't get a result. It's like just witnessing. She was an amazing witness. She also, though, this is something that definitely occurred to me and then continued to occur to me later as I've been unpacking, this story of Jess and mine, for ever since it happened, to understand what exactly happened that summer. Like, why was Jess able to help me when all these other people weren't?
Yeah.
And she knew my deepest, darkest secrets. She knew the worst things that had ever happened to me. She knew all the things that I was the most ashamed to tell people, and she loved me. And she'd known me since 7th grade. And so I wanted to be that kind of friend to my clients without, being weird about it. Because, I'm not going to be like, tell me your deepest, darkest secrets, and I'll be your best friend, and then we'll,
But you're holding that space for them.
Yeah. I aspired to be the kind of person who someone could tell their secrets to if they needed to unburden themselves to heal. I wanted to be the kind of person who wouldn't need someone to unburden themselves, even if they have a secret. Because I know what that's like, to hold space and,
strong boundaries or courage.
Yes, all of it. And so this is the story, the origin story, not just of Kinetix, but of living science, because Jess, without knowing it, taught me that summer the first principle of living science and the Kinetix methodology, which is the nature of the relationship determines what is revealed.
Yeah.
Her and I, our relationship determined the outcome and what was revealed by my body, by the experience, by our experiments. And so I was very, 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 very almost obsessively mindful of my impact on people and the relationship I was forming with them. That was my utmost priority.
Yeah.
More than anything else. And so that's baked into the methodology. There is, like there are no two people that will ever do massage the same way because they're different people. Yeah. There are no two people who will do kinetics the same way. So like, this is why as a teacher now, I'm very passionate about telling my students, don't try to be me. I'm not trying to clone myself. And if you try to be me, you'll fail because there's only one of me and there's only one of you. Be you. Like, let's find what your unique gifts and talents are and where your challenges and weaknesses are. I have mine.
Yeah.
I had to really get to know my, where I was judging people and who I couldn't hold space for and, what kinds of people I can't work with.
Yeah.
And to make sure that like, I don't work with them and give them their money back and like wish them well, because I don't want to try to work with people I'm not a good fit for. So there's just so much that goes into being a good practitioner. That's just across the board, not necessarily part of a methodology. It's just that kinetics is under the umbrella of living science, which states that first principle. The nature of the relationship determines what is revealed. And so that is baked into our methodology, not all modalities or methodologies. So yeah, maybe just to wrap it up, I invited all of my clients into the discovery process. So they became active participants like I was with Jess and like Jess was with me. So we would do the what if game together. We would notice things together. I would invite them to notice things aloud with me. So kinetics is a participatory science. It takes two people participating for it to work. There is no one's passive. So the clients aren't passive. If you're getting stepped on, you're not passive. To really get to the root of something, you have to be an active, willing participant. You have to volunteer information that maybe you'd rather not share or be known because it's confronting and painful and difficult. Like, hey, I actually am afraid of something, or I do, in fact, have this belief. Yeah, I am really skeptical because I have a fear of disappointment or whatever the case may be. So it turned into a mapping methodology where I was looking at people's mindset and beliefs and stories and meanings and traumas and emotions and how they reacted when I stepped on them and, states of fight, flight, freeze and fawn, people pleasing. I was definitely noticing a lot of my clients, wanting to be good.
Yeah.
And having to negotiate all of those survival programs that we all have with people. And then the most important lesson I learned in my practice is fascia won't change just because you want it to or perform certain techniques.
Yeah. One thing that really has stuck with me is like your fascia now in your calf is probably in some ways less healthy than it was with Jess when like in the aftermath of getting stepped on, 4 times a week. Aftermath. Yes. Yeah, I mean that in the best sense. I probably didn't word that the best way, but yeah, it's like you're changed.
Yes. Yeah, and so yeah, it's more like I learned that the hard way because I was naive in the beginning, and I definitely thought like, oh, I can change anyone's fascia, and this thing that we're doing is going to release their fascia, and I'll hunt out the imbalances. And then very quickly, I realized that's not true some of the time, and so I had to figure that out, and I did. And so like the method is still evolving. It is still evolving today. It's getting codified. It's getting refined. It's getting put into what am I trying to say? It's getting like we're writing documents and we're doing more with it to help people understand what it actually is today. I was just doing what I was doing.
Yeah, I would, from my perspective, it's getting clarified.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my clients loved participating. I eventually started mapping the nervous system and mapping trauma patterns in people's bodies, and that's now all a part of the method.
Yeah.
So that feels like probably a good place to wrap up. Otherwise, we could go forever.
I agree. Nothing else you want to say in closing here? I don't have any other questions.
Well, probably we just left a big teaser, with the whole fascia won't change just because.
Yeah.
And so if you're here at the end, hopefully you understand this is not a generic modality.
Yeah.
Kinetix isn't synonymous with partner fascia release. We use it, but we use it to map, to gather data, and then we do a whole lot more than just partner fascia release with the mapping methodology. We use our minds and our intellects, and we map what we're finding onto people's gaits and their injury history and their mindset and their traumas and lifestyle and sports and habits and everything. So that'll come next. So if you're wanting to learn about fascia and why it won't change just because we wanted to or perform certain techniques, stay tuned for that. And if you want to learn more about everything we're doing with Kinetix and the school, you can go to schoolforlivingscience.com. We'll link all the, anything we talked about today. Links will be in the show notes or description on YouTube. Please give us a thumbs up and subscribe. It really helps us out. And if you want to help us out even more, please leave a comment and let us know what you think about this episode. Thank you, Stefan, for interviewing me.
Yeah, you're welcome.
I don't think I've ever told this whole story from start to finish. And so it feels good to kind of get it out there, in as much totality as you can do in a podcast. So thank you, everyone, for being here and listening. And we'll see you next time.
Bye, everybody.